You're watching Hot Walk Academy. My name is Mingjin Tong. I want to help you master your kitchen. Today we are making 榨菜肉丝面, beef and preserved vegetables over noodles. Let's cook. This dish is super popular. You can go to many Chinese restaurants and of course many Chinese homes and find this dish. So the base of it is going to be these dry noodles from Taiwan. These noodles are the medium size, not thin, not thick, right in the middle. So pick some up. We always have some on hand. And I'm just gonna take about one person's portion here. And I'm gonna go ahead and cook that. I'll keep an eye on it in the back of my mind. Let me just drop that in the water. This is a very quick prep, so while that is going, let me just show you what needs to happen next. So our scallions, we're gonna set to the side. I've got 2 pieces of pretty thinly sliced ribeye, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut si, or julienne in French, but in Chinese we say si, and I just wanna go ahead and cut that pretty small. Now, the size of this cut is going to match the preserved vegetable I'll show you in just a second here. So nice and thin, just straight down. If it's okay, if it gets a little bit mangled, it's going to be stir fried, so it kind of gets tossed around anyways. Make sure you got a nice sharp knife. I forgot to hone mine just before we started, so maybe that's why it's giving me a little bit of trouble through some of that fat. So nice and thin pieces for our stir fry. We're gonna marinate that in just a minute. Okay, and before we marinate it, let me show you what we are cooking with for our preserved vegetable, so-called preserved vegetable. Now, my daughter picked this can up the other day and she said, "Oh, it's my childhood." Yes, this is something that we eat quite a bit actually. So it is the stem of a mustard plant that has been preserved in very salty, and a little bit spicy brine. So let me show you how this works. Now, in a can, you can buy 2 different kinds. I really recommend this White Rabbit brand. And you can buy it either whole or you can buy it shredded. Now, this product is shredded and it is so strongly flavored that what we do is we always empty it right into some kind of a pan like this, and we fill it with water and we let it soak. Otherwise, it's too salty, sometimes even too spicy for us. So what we do, just let that fill and let it soak, and after it's done soaking for a few minutes, you can strain it and you'll be ready to cook with it, okay? So let's go ahead and get that filled, and we'll let that go and just let that sit. Now, for our marinade, with our beef, what you wanna do is put it into a bowl, and there's a few things. So, first thing is a little bit of baking soda. We put baking soda on there because baking soda will raise the pH level of your meat, which actually makes it so that the proteins cannot bind together. They stay loose, and what that means is that you will have a more tender product if you use baking soda in with your beef. Now, don't put too much. If you put too much, it does have a funky flavor. Won't taste very good. So just add a little bit is really all you need. In addition, I'm gonna add some rice wine. This will help everything tie together. And then lastly, for our marinade, we're gonna use just good old soy sauce. All right, now, if you notice, in my ingredients, I don't even have salt out here. Why? Because the soy sauce has salt, and the 榨菜 preserved vegetable has a lot of that salt as well. And lastly, I'm gonna add just a little bit of cornstarch for that velveting effect, okay? So here we go. Let's get that mixed and marinated. Now, these noodles behind me, they probably need about 4 minutes. It's probably been about 2.5 to 3. Let me take a look to see how they're doing while this marinates. So the beef is going to sit and marinate. the vegetables are gonna do the opposite. They're gonna get a little bit less flavorful. So let me check on the noodles. All right, my noodles are perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and strain them because I wanna stop that cooking process. And in order to help them not stick so much, I'm just gonna add just a little bit of oil. Let that sit there. We're actually gonna plate that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and do our cooking. So for our preserved vegetables, you see all that water is pretty dark now. We're just gonna go ahead and pull all that water out. A lot of the sodium and a lot of the chili is being washed away. Now, if you like it very strong, feel free to keep it in there, but do try it before you cook with it. It's a very, very strong product. All right, such an easy cook here. Let's go ahead and turn our fire all the way on high. We'll get our vegetable oil in here. And while that warms up, I'm gonna cook my scallions, or excuse me, I'm gonna cut my scallions just really fast here. Not much to it. I don't want the ends on there at all. And we're gonna make some pretty big cuts because I don't want the scallion to overcook. I want it to be nice and big so it won't overcook. And I kind of want the scallion size and the preserved vegetable size to be about the same. We like things to look the same in our Chinese cooking, okay? So let's go ahead and cook our meat first. You can see my smoke coming up from the wok here, which means that it is nice and hot, ready to go. And let's go ahead and drop all of our meat right in. Now, it's gonna be pretty splashy, so be careful when you do this. We're gonna cook our meat almost all the way through. I'm gonna fan it out to make sure that it's getting even heat all the way through. And when the beef is cooked about 70% of the way to fully cooked, that's when we will add our preserved vegetable to it. Let me go ahead and get my plating bowl to get ready. And I'll go ahead and add our noodles to that as well. All right, noodles are ready to go. The beef right now, the outside is cooked, the inside it still needs a little bit of time. So that's about halfway done. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a good time to add our preserved vegetables. So let's go ahead and add that in. Now I'm on a pretty low heat stove here. At home, you should have your stove on as high as you can, but this doesn't produce a great deal of heat. So from here, what we want to do is we just want to cook it. Keep stir frying it until the beef is cooked all the way through. The preserved vegetable is actually edible right out of the can. It's already cooked, ready to use. We're really just using it for the texture and the flavor. You don't necessarily need to cook it through, okay? Now, this dish is eaten as a dry noodle dish. It's not a soup noodle. Some places you go, they do add soup noodle to it, some soup. If you want to do that, you can add a little bit of liquid right into your wok. I would recommend using a chicken broth if you're going to do that to keep it nice and moist. So this is looking really good. If you look closely, you can see how it's very slippery or very shiny because it's got that cornstarch in there. All right, that is pretty much done. Now, when that is cooked almost all the way, now you can add your scallions. because I don't want them to overcook. I want the scallions to be nice and fresh and even a little bit crispy. All right, let's try one piece of beef and see if it's done. Looks really good. Oh, that's perfect. Just turn that off and let's go ahead and plate this. Just a really fresh, savory dish. Please try making it at home. Let us know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.